general population are on guard for not letting these guys re-enter into the general population society because they've already either snitched or did something to leave the main line, So there's a whole lot of what they call prison politics, and these are the things that I'm describing right now because there's things that are allowed and there's things that are disallowed. And what CDC knows about what's allowed and disallowed, they feed it. They feed the situation, and they call it justifiable penological goals and interests, and they try to justify it through word terms that don't describe to the people of the state of California or the state exactly what they mean or what proof or evidence do you have of this being effective. Only thing that they describe, the only thing that they describe is what they're doing, and then they go switch all the way up to the inmates because they're just being violent, or because they're out of control. It's a deflection. They blame everything on the inmate, but the blame is designed to get more funds, because if the people who were in charge of the prison were actually managing it, they wouldn't mix these prisons up like they do. They got so many prisoners today in prison who want a program so bad and want to take advantage of the opportunities to go home that they're stuck in these prison systems, which California Department of Corrections categorized by levels: level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. 180 design, 270 design. These different levels are a farce because they base it upon a point system. That every time an inmate gets a write-up, he's subject to 64 points that they're added to his prejudice score. And if it involves a weapon or if it involves serious bodily injury, they add 16 plus another 16. It's just a farce to keep level 4 prisons open and active because these are considered the most violent people in California. But these are some of the smartest people in California prison system because they just don't know how to fight and wiggle their way up out of the design schemes of CDCR to get to lower level prisons.
Right.
And now CDCR has promulgated rules and regulations that permit people to get overrides to level 3s inconsistent with your classification scores. But they weaponize it. They're constantly trying to get inmates.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Just again.
Okay.
To go S and Y, and
okay, we're gonna pause.
This process.
We're gonna pause for a minute.
Okay.
And,
okay, we've returned from our pause, and I would like to get back on the subject. A lot of the ways the system is being ran and the way inmates are programmed today, the hope of going home is so high, but the odds against us going home feel even higher. Even though the changes of law, the different laws permit us the opportunity to get back into court or either be resentenced or have our sentences vacated so that we can go home. But the turmoil that's created inside the prison system is like a clamp. It's almost like a bear trap, locked on a person's foot. You're constantly trying to make your way out, but they got this clamp on your foot pulling you back, keeping you locked in. And there are some inmates who just have given up in life. They probably can't function in society no more. They claim to be, stomped down with the ways of their structures are designed, and it's sad because, it's like the people hold the people back. They got people amongst the people who hold the people back, and they take pride in it.
Right.
They don't care about everybody else. They don't give a shit. They don't care at all about what people who wants to go home. And the prison system knows who the programmers are. They know who the F-ups are. They know who is going to keep off. They know who the dope fiends are. They know who the snitches are. They know who the game players are. They know who those who are serious about programming are. But they don't create a system to where, okay, you guys who want to program, we're going to transfer you to this prison, and we're going to have nothing but programmers here. We've already identified who the F-ups are, we're going to put them all in one prison. So because they know that they need a culmination of everyone to keep chaos going.
Right.
Fresh meat right off the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Youngsters who don't know nothing about prison,
Exactly.
they bring them in, and they throw them into the system with experienced people who is trying to get out of the system, who's been in there the longest, but done been through every single thing that this youngster is about to go through to learn the prison life experience. So the people who've already been through the madness have to be subject to repeating the same thing over and over just because of the color of their skin or because they're still trapped in the level 4. And, it's like playing the same record over and over and over again. It doesn't warp.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Yeah.
So to keep the chaos going, you bring fresh meat in. You keep the experienced guys, the ones who you've deemed influential. You keep some of them. You keep some of the guys who's quick to react, the reactionaries. And then you keep some of the guys who will program it successfully that don't want nothing to do with none of that. And you keep them all bunched up together. And it creates chaos because you have the different mindsets. You have those who want to program, those who wants to get away from the madness, versus those who don't care about nobody, versus those who lack experience and don't know what they're getting into, but ready to get into anything because they heard the way prison was. And, when we're young, we're rebellious, and we think we're grown, and we think we know everything, and we think we're ready for everything, and we can handle it, and we jump into these situations, till they see it goes bad. And then when you get stabbed a couple times, your own people, beat the brakes off you, now all of a sudden, you're looking for your mama, or you want to turn to God, and then you want to pray that things change, but you're not taking the initiatives because you're constantly putting yourself in a position to be somebody's flunky. Instead of making a decision about your own life, you're letting other people dictate the terms of your life. And that's a problem. Because CDCR knows these things. So do we have to take a break?
No, I wanted to ask a question. So you mentioned the point system, and I had someone, we've been on here with Lonnie, and he mentioned the point system a little bit, but he didn't go into details. And my understanding on the point system, like you said, you can get 16 points. So I want everyone to understand how that actually works. How do you get rid of those points? How long does it take to get rid of those 16 points? Say it's only 16. I have that question, and I have another question. If say I'm on the yard and I'm minding my own business, but all of a sudden someone comes and attack me, and I'm fighting to defend myself, how does that process go? Tell us about the points and how are you handled if you are just trying to defend yourself?
Well, California prison system allows people to defend themselves and not
Check your mic.
self-defense, but then they say that there's no such thing as self-defense, but they allow themselves to report in a certain manner, write reports in a certain manner to identify perpetrators versus victims, and it's like they pick and choose who is charged and who is exonerated. When a person gets beat up, the first thing they do is separate that beat up person from everybody, and then they start asking personal questions that an inmate, once he starts saying certain things, and if he says a thing like, "I didn't start it," or "He started it," okay, now he done snitched.
Oh,
So
okay.
that personal moment, that personal moment with staff is used as a weapon. They weaponize it,
Oh,
and then they turn around and they hold that against that inmate, so that now you done already told, they know that they could use that any given time they want to, and that the inmate who is the aggressor don't know that the person told on them, but you can figure it out at some point, because when the person who was the aggressor gets charged and the other person doesn't, then the first thing they conclude is that this dude must have told.
Mm-hmm.
So then a lot of times the prison officials, they won't document what the inmate said on a confidential disclosure form, because the inmate did tell, and they won't document it because they hide what inmates tell and what inmates don't.
Mm-hmm.
So they punish who they want to punish.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Reliable informants, people who tell,
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like there's people who done got ran up on by other people to get beat up 3-on-1, and the guy who was getting beat up turned around and whooped all three of them, and he'll get charged for battery with an SBI because he whooped on them for attacking him. He defended himself. He kept them at bay. But he's charged because this is how the police write things, It's the way they write, the way they report things, And it's all deliberate. It's so wrong that even if you're a programmer, you try your best to program, and because you've been left in this environment where it's a very hostile environment and it's always subject to some forms of violence, to be a programmer, to have to bob and weave from programming and missing violent situations that you could easily get pulled into, because anything could just come your way and you never know. And just being charged for, because it's the simplest way for staff to report what happened.
Right.
They write things vague, inconclusively, and it's so couched to where you can't really hardly defend yourself unless you're capable of unraveling it, And they don't like people who litigate. They don't like the inmate who challenges what they do. These are inmates that, they even describe me as a legal eagle, a big file of 602s. This is a flag for officers to know that I'm a problem. He'll book you, so that what that does is tell the officers anything he do, book his ass, write him up. Don't let him get away with nothing. But then some of them see me and respect me to the point where they stay out of my way, because they know I look them in their eye and I let them know, I don't have no problem with you, but don't turn around and make a problem, you know what I'm saying, because then it's going to get bigger. It's going to turn into something. So this point system is used in such an arbitrary way,